So, bit of a tight squeeze in the van this morning, as we've got our roses for the next job, and this is the first task of the day, and we will be double cutting this because it's the first cut, so we shall put a double cut on. So, first job of the day done, and a lot to do on the site, which I'll talk about in a minute. Morning watchers, Scott at SE Landscaping, and it is Easter Monday. And on a previous video I explained I worked Friday because I'm covering for employees as they have the time off, they have the long weekend. So as an employer, the downside of employing is you cover for people. So in today, but I have been off on the weekend and we've had some family time, which a lot revolved around gardening actually, which sounds funny. Most people when they go to work, they don't want to do the job when they go home, but the weekend consisted of a bit of shopping. We went off and did a bit of shopping, but that consisted of buying a gardening magazine, buying a gardening book from Waterstones, and then I needed some plants for a job, so I took the Ford Transit to B&Q because over the weekend they had 20% off all plants, and I had a few schemes I needed plants for, as well as a few for my home. So in the end, I nipped to B&Q, got all the plants for the job, and then came home and did some gardening. So although I've been off, it's been very gardening based weekend, which it's a hobby, it's my job, and it's what I love to do. And if you can find a balance like that, then like I say, I know it sounds very I know it sounds strange, but it's like I said, it's what I enjoy. It's the not going to work. Yeah, you have the odd difficult day, but the majority of it is just fun. So anybody who's in a trade or anybody who's in a gardening trade and they don't like it, just find something you do, because life's too short. I've said it before, find something you enjoy. The days go faster, you go to work with a smile on your face, you don't drag yourself out of bed onto the floor and crawl to the bathroom on a morning. You actually dive out of bed, you actually swing to the bathroom off the lampshades. So, and you can't sleep on a Sunday night for excitement. But that's another thing anyway. We'll come back to today. That's the first job today for my most famous customer, and I double cut it. So what I did there was I overlapped. So I did the first row and then I overlapped that row again, just because it was quite longish. I was going to double cut it on 4 and then 3, but it was actually that Hater mower, although it's a domestic, Greg Francis. Yeah, when I bought that, he said, "Why did you buy a domestic mower?" One, it was £400 cheaper than the Pro, and for the use it's going to get on 3 jobs a year, it'll do me. So that's the reason why I bought it, if I can get my words out. So yes, it's a domestic, but it's a cracking little mower, and it bagged well there. As you saw, it's wet. It's been raining all night, so it's wet. It's bagged okay, and it's just a matter of cleaning them out regular and blowing them out. I'm going to another job shortly, so I haven't given a good blow and clean there because it's pretty clean, but I'll be doing it after the next one before it goes back in the van till tomorrow. You'll notice a petrol strimmer. I've got a cemetery to cut today, and although I use the battery strimmers on small jobs and things, the petrol strimmers are a lot quicker when you're doing cemeteries, when you're strimming around 300 or 400 graves, and you need the power, and you're in and out of the graves, and the strimmers going up and down. The battery is still a little bit behind. They take a little bit of time to kick in, a couple of seconds, a bit like the battery mowers. So that's why I tend to still use the petrol on some of the commercial jobs. I still go with the petrol. So that is the first job nailed today, and as you saw, it's the first visit of the year. What I tend to do on the first visits is I'll walk the site, so I know straight away there the weeds have grown over winter and the car park needs spraying. Not today, because like I say, it's a showery day, so the car park needs sprayed, the moss needs the moss brush on along that edge. It always seems to gather there just on that strip. So we'll come with the weed killer, we'll come with the moss spray, and in a couple of visits time that car park should look nice and tidy, and then it's just regular maintenance. It's just going there for an hour each visit, cutting the grass and doing everything else to keep it tidy. Now, I wasn't there now today, I was there 25 minutes, and the reason I was there 25 minutes is, as I've explained, it's a showery wet day, and the other jobs I can't do, the spraying and things won't get done. So what it means is next visit I'll be there an hour and a half to make up for this, because that's how I operate. I could just shoot in and out, I could have chucked a bit of weed killer on for 10 minutes and walked away, but when I've got a set time on a job that I've specified, that's how I like it. It sometimes gives you an extra 5-10 minutes or whatever to do it that way. Another thing's litter picking. On large jobs I'll litter pick a site prior, but on strips like that, as you saw as I was walking down, I was just picking up the odd can that's blown off the road. It's quicker than walking down and litter picking, and then when you get back to the top you just chuck it into the bag. So that's why I didn't litter pick. And also you'll notice I've got a pair of Wellington boots on. I was planting last week, and unfortunately I've put a hole in my boot, so they were leaking last week, so I need to get a new pair of boots. But I will be putting the boots on for the next job, the ones with the hole in for the next job actually, because we're going to put the plants in that you saw in the back of the van there. So that job there, I mentioned it's my most famous customer. Anybody who watches Dragon's Den, Sarah Davies. She owns Crafter's Companion, and this is at one of her sites up in the northeast of County Durham. So like I say, I've had this since they moved in. This business started off in her bedroom and it expanded above her dad's shop, and now she's got factories, and anybody who Googles the name will know that it's a massive company now. So like I say, I've been coming here since she first started here, which I'm trying to think, has she been in there 7-8 years, something like that? It's been a while anyway, and we've been looking after the site, so we do bits of planting on there, and it's mainly car parks, as you've seen. it's sort of a big warehouse, and grass cutting and weed killing and just keeping it generally tidy from the road. So on to the next one, and some roses to plant. Like I said, I've been to get some plants for jobs and also some plants for myself while B&Q had a sale on. So we'll go and put some roses in now onto this next scheme, and a fun packed day today, quite a lot to do, so let's get cracking. So arrived at job number 3. Although you haven't seen job number 2, it was another little job. I've just had to put some roses in, so you'll know when I open the van that there's some roses missing. But what we've got here is we pulled a lot of woody dead roses out last year and pruned a lot hard back. So all it is a matter of filling the gaps. We've just started putting some rotted manure on that we're getting off a local farmer, so that's getting filled up. Now these beds used to be lavender beds, and they're getting ripped out, and this is getting paved. We've still got flowers that go in the central thing there, in the summer flowers. But what it is, when this cemetery was built, it was horses and carts that came in to do funerals, and stonemasons had horse and carts. Now stonemasons have 10-ton wagons, and they cannot negotiate this anymore, and it's just making a mess if you look there. So what the council's decided is to pave it, put some pots on, and then plant this up, and by the time the roses are in, it will look canny. So as I said, we've used some roses, but we've still got some left here. Now anybody who plants roses knows that the mycorrhizal fungi is key. What it is, it's a powder. It helps the roots grow, and you just put a bit around the root system or the pot once you put it in the hole, and it will help the plant grow. Years ago you couldn't put roses back in the same place, that was the rule, whereas now you can with the stuff, and it helps flowers and everything else. So let's get a few in. Ideal planting conditions: the ground's soft, so the plants are getting the water when they're going in. Roses, just try and leave them just so the knuckles just above the ground. Bit of the magic stuff round, and firm it in, level off, and on the next one. So all gapped up, you can see where I've been by the soil. The soil's different colour, and so that's all full now. And like I say, a year or two's time, these little men will be massive, and they'll end up looking like these. So that's my mycorrhiza. You can see a tub, you only need a little handful around each plant. So a tub like that will last a lot of jobs. As well as that, you can use on other plants and shrubs as well. It helps with everything. It helps with flower and fruit and all sorts. So bang it into every hole if you can. But just spin you around. This cemetery got its first cut last week, and as you can see, it's starting to just get a little bit on, but this is due to be cut again tomorrow. So if you imagine, if you look at that there, very tidy, this is going to get another cut tomorrow. So once we're on top of things, this is why I love the regular maintenance jobs I have, because once you do the first cut, then you've got them looking lovely. So pick up our tools. Always make sure you've got all your tools at the end of the job. The amount of things I've lost over the years by people leaving stuff is unbelievable. And now the plan will be to tidy these rose boxes up, because the mower will be coming out before long. So 3 jobs in, 1 commercial site cut, 2 lots of roses planted, which, like I say, they will come good this year, but they'll be small. But by next year, I'll do a rerun of this, because this site will look really, really tip top next year once those plants get established. And yes, some of the old woody ones, it's a work in progress, because you will lose 1 or 2 each year. But then, if this council spent money renewing 40 on the 2 areas this year, so, and these are the jobs I like, where people will fund things rather than you price. And for certain customers, I've got you price things, and you know they're never going to do it. They're going to sit round a table and they're never going to agree to spend any money. It's just going to be a constant price thing, and then they might do 1 job a year. So it's good here that these actually these customers, the majority of my customers, will actually spend money, will actually listen if I mention something, or if I say something will benefit, they'll actually let me do it. So on to the next one, which is, I'm going to the same again. The haters coming out next, and we're going to cut Village Hall. It's just 3 or 4 small areas of grass around the Village Hall, the War Memorial. So first cut of the year again, so we'll go there next. But it's 7:45, so we'll get on site for 8 o'clock, spend an hour there, and cracking through the work. I think I've said before, it's strange, but I do prefer to work on my own. Just for years and years of doing it. And then yes, I did get up to I was up to 7 members of staff, and a lot of the time I had someone with me, but the majority of that time you were either on a grass cutter and they were on a strimmer and things. But overall, I do prefer to just work on my own, which doesn't always work. Like you say, sometimes you do need to work as a team, but that's just the way I enjoy to operate, and that's why the slim down business with less stress and everything is, I'm really loving it at the moment. I've enjoyed the last few months, and going into summer now, well, coming out of spring, going into summer, with a balance of work. And the big one was getting rid of the weekends in the schools to have more time to garden at home. So yeah, but yeah, it's that was the big one, dropping the weekends after many years. And it's strange, because I've noticed that, like I say, I have worked the odd Saturday recently, as you'll know, but the amount of Saturdays I've had off, the amount of weekends I've had off where I've been working 5 days and then 2 off, it's been really odd. You're lost off. It's like, well, heck, I've got a whole weekend off, and same next week, and the week shoots over. The 5 days have gone, and it's the weekend. Whereas for other people, it's the week's dragging, the weekends shoot over. But that's just the way I've found it. So it's happy times, and long may it continue. We just need the good weather now, because, like I said, it's spitting on again now. It's supposed to be raining today. It is a wet week again this week, so we'll just have to get done what we can, which I tend to, if I know that it's going to rain, I'll maybe stay out a little bit longer one day, or I shall do the cutting on a dry day, especially if I've got 2 or 3 cemeteries to do in a couple of days. I'll just shoot around all the cemeteries to do the cutting. Although it may take you a bit longer to get to that cemetery, what it means is the wet day you pull on your waterproofs and you go back into the cemeteries and trim them all on the wet day. So it's a matter of just finding a solution to the problem, but there's never a solution for just sitting in the van and going home. There's always something to do. whether that's planting, pruning or whatever. In this trade there's always something, unless you're a mow, blow and go guy, then there's always something you can find to do. And that's why as a mow, blow and go guy you have to diversify, because as anybody who did it last year knows, when you had that dry spell in the northeast where the grass didn't grow for 8 or 9 weeks, people don't want you in, and they'll just say, look, it doesn't need doing. So you lose out on the money. So you do need a backup plan. And then like I say, on wet years where it's the same again, you might get a wet period where you still can't get on because it's too wet. So then you need a backup plan of pruning or extra jobs that you can do for a customer, putting gravel down or something. So it's a matter of just thinking ahead all the time, and thinking, if the year's bad, thinking, right, I've got a 20 grand income this year, but if the year's bad, that could be 14 by the time I lose the customers. What will I do? Will I survive? And if you're budgeting that, if you're planning on that 20 grand to come in and you've only got 14, then you need that backup plan. So it's thinking ahead, looking around, looking for new products, looking for new things you can buy that 50% of your customers might have, like the power brush. 50% of your customers might have long drives, and you might be able to upsell the power brush job to them. So it's things like that. It's just looking about and coming up with solutions to problems all the time. Business isn't easy, basically. So like I say, on to the next one, and we shall get a bit of footage. Another one ticked off. Village hall all nice and tidy. Like I said, we don't pick litter, but we do if it's on the grass. And just tidy up down the bottom. So that's the cutting done, just the strimming next. Well, the aim with the stander is to get as close as you can within a couple of inches to cut down on the strimming. It is first cut of the year, so there is a little bit of grass on the surface, but not a huge amount. It's still come up quite tidy, as you can see. Down to 2.5 inches on this one, and we'll drop it to 2 on the next. Pointless going too low because you'll just end up with lots of horizons. So these little raised graves we just put down a weed killer on a couple of times a year. Some of these ones here just keeps the weeds in check. So that's pretty much it. First cut done, trimmed tidy, and very little grass left about. Less than I'd expect for a first cut. So just gone 11:30. So we've been in there for 2.5 hours. about an hour and 10 minutes to cut it, and about an hour and 20 to trim it. And I've sent to the people in here, and they can cut it in a little bit more time, but the trimming usually takes them sort of 2.5 hours. So I've got these jobs off to a fine art, to be honest. A lot of you guys watching the video will be looking at that thinking, oh, I'd be in there all day. But with the right kit, like I say, in the right conditions, it's dry at the moment. Rain is 2.5 hours out. It is on its way, so I've gone to the next job, which is just up the road. So we've got another site to visit next, but we should be avoiding the rain on the jobs we've got today, because what I've got is we're going to another job now. So yeah, so rain is about 2.5 hours out, so we've got a little bit of time to finish. But that cemetery there, like I say, 2.5 inch first cut, just to try and not leave anything behind, because the worst thing you can do is cut that to sort of 1.5 inches and just have piles and piles of grass. It's the same with these machines. When you see people in cemeteries, mainly the council, they'll use the rear discharge. There's nothing worse than just a big chunk of a line of grass. They go at it as low as they can from day one, from the first cut. They want to get it down as low as possible, which you don't need to. You can just ease into grass as the season goes on. So that's what we've done there, and it'll mean next time we can drop it down a bit more, and then before the grass really gets away, you're already on top of it and you're winning. And that's the thing with that cemetery's getting sort of 14 to 16 cuts depending on the weather, and that's for most of our jobs. Obviously we've got other ones that get cut weekly, which makes it a lot easier. So that's that job done. Another one bites the dust, and on to the next one. And the next one is, it's a couple of bits of land that's been made into sort of a war memorial for a village. So I'm going to shoot over these two areas next, and then I've got a commercial site to visit, and then I've got to go to a nursery to pick up some plants I couldn't get from B&Q, because they had lots of shrubs and things, but unfortunately there was no herbaceous. So I'm going to go and spend an hour in a garden centre picking some nice herbaceous plants for a job that I'm going to be planting up soon. So that is the plan. So we should get done today, and then once we've got done today, those roses we put in first thing this morning, we'll be getting a good water, because there's some heavy rain due this afternoon. So we're definitely winning today. We don't always win every day with the weather, but we definitely are today. We've been lucky, but like I say, the week's supposed to be poor, so we will be getting wet at some point this week. So any questions on the cemeteries and stuff, if you've got any, like I say, it's practice. I've been cutting cemeteries for 20 odd years, and you cannot trim something like that in 80 minutes without practice. If you've just got a cemetery, if you've got that cemetery there and you're looking at it and it's your first one, you'll be thinking, oh heck, might be 3 or 4 hours to trim that. But it's just all about practice and picking up jobs and learn from mistakes and things like that as well, and that's the key. So we just arrived at our next job, and we shall get some cutting done. It's this memorial here. And as we spin back round, there's one on the other side as well. Another site nailed. Well, just got blown up on that job and the rain has come a little bit early. It's only light at the moment, but like I say, from what I saw, it is 12:20. In about an hour's time it is going to get really heavy and set in for the afternoon. So I've been quite lucky today. I've had a dry morning, and like I say, as I drive, if you can hear, but it's bouncing off it's getting heavier now. So it's come a little bit earlier than planned, but the good news is I am on my way to the nursery now to pick up the plants. So quite happy to get wet for an hour going to browse around the nursery. So we'll go and get these done. But that's the same again. That's just a typical day in the life of what I do on commercial. So with these 14-16 cuts a year, you're trying to do the best job you can. So in the cemetery there, I raised the height. Same with that area there, the War Memorial, I raised the height to 2.5 inches for the first cut. I cut it a bit slower just to give the mulcher a chance, because if these Furusus have 3 speeds. Anybody who knows, there's a little button on the handle on the drive, and they've got 3 speeds. And if you go at it in full speed on this, you're just going to be leaving Mohicans everywhere, and you're going to do a poor job. So basically, in the early days of grass cutting, in the early season when it's grown all winter like it has, lift the cut, drop the speed, and you will have, like I say, a nice job. It doesn't always have to be piles and piles of grass left everywhere, which you'll get if you do the other two, which is go fast and go low. So that's some advice for these mulchers. The other advice, if you haven't got a mulcher and you've got a re-discharge and you're going over a job, like I spoke earlier, and you're finding that you're leaving loads and loads of grass behind, which you will do because it just disperses it out the back and it doesn't mulch it. The other option you can do after that is you can lift say you're cutting on 2.5 inch, you can lift the height up to 4 inch, 4.5 inch, drive over it again, and the machine will have a hairdryer effect, and basically it'll displace the grass. Yes, you're going over it twice, but if you want a really good finish and you've got a rear discharge, you're not going to get a really good finish just cutting. So lift it up, hairdry it out. The other option is you go at it with a blower, which I've done in the past years ago, where you walk down every row where there's this long stream of grass, and then obviously you go down every row and you blow it about. But with the machine displacing it, that's the easiest option, with the hairdryer effect. So like I say, that's it. Got the War Memorial looking nice and tidy. It is, like I say, the first week in April, and unfortunately with the grass grown that much over winter, in parts it's difficult to know what you're going to get till you arrive at the site. In parts, some sites are okay, but other sites you can be cutting grass that's a foot long at the moment, and just trying to do the best job possible. So onto the nursery next. That's the plan. The luxury of being able to go out at 6 o'clock on a morning is the luxury of beating the weather, because it is teeming down now. We are just arriving at the nursery. If we can get in, maybe a bit tight in here, I think. Tight, but we shall try. Go. Let's go and get some plants bought. So quite a lot of local nurseries in our area, but that's the go-to one. They get some really nice stuff. The owners travel to Italy and places and pick some really exotic plants and stuff that will grow over here, but they go out of the way. A lot of nurseries just mail order everything from down country and stuff, but this one, they've got specimens up to £1,000 and things, and there's some really interesting stuff in there. But I've just been in for whatever I couldn't get from B&Q, which was herbaceous. So I've picked up some Virginias, I've picked up some heucheras, and a bit of digitalis and a few other things just to go in amongst the shrubs on this rockery that I'm going to be building tomorrow. So that, like I say, with the weather is it. I'm going back now to load up for tomorrow, do a bit of maintenance, which not my biggest favourite thing to do, but going back to do half an hour's maintenance on a couple of items, a bit of cleaning off, and then that will be it for Easter Monday. All finished. So thanks for watching. Any questions on anything in the video, drop me a message, and the most important thing, like and subscribe if you're not already doing so. Get me a few more pounds in the bank to spend on some nice plants. So thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.